Let's open up the debate to a chief economist, Holger Schmieding from the Berenberg Bank. Thank you very much for coming in. Nice to see you again. Do you think the €4,000 subsidy in Germany has been a flop?
Well, subsidies come at the expense of taxpayers. So we need to really think, is there a benefit to society to justify the subsidy? Clean air is a benefit. Helping an innovation towards clean air does make some sense. All in all, I would say an initial subsidy of the magnitude up to €4,000 can make sense, but it has to be limited, targeted, and has to be scaled down over time.
It sounds good, of course. Not many people are using it, but I guess minimal cleaner air as a result. But why? Tell me why these subsidies are not kickstarting the sector. They've been trying to get this sector going for such a long time.
We probably need a bit more time until the technology is developed.
More time.
Until the technology is developed enough. And especially judging by the experience of your reporters, it might be helpful to have a few more charging stations, say, at public buildings, which probably cost less, rather than having this blanket subsidy. I think one of the key reasons, of course, people aren't using it very much is if we can't be sure to actually use it on a longer distance, then we may refrain from buying it. By and large, this is a new, somewhat newish technology. There is some case for limited government help. It ought to be targeted, and maybe charging stations would be better than the current subsidy.
What would get you into an e-car? Would a lot have to change, or just the technology?
I'll have to see. If for driving in the city it really makes sense, I could eventually think about it, but at the moment I would say the technology doesn't look developed enough, at least to convince me yet. We'll see.
And what's your opinion on subsidies in general, not just for the electric car industry? Is it a bad way to run an economy in the end?
Too much subsidies are a bad way to run an economy because subsidies come at the expense of everybody. If many things are subsidized, then the basic effect is that everybody pays into the subsidies, but nobody really knows who actually benefits how. A limited number of targeted subsidies makes sense for technologies that improve the quality of life for everybody. Clean air, once again, is one of these things, but blanket subsidies or subsidies just to help struggling industries do not make a lot of sense. Change, including economic change, is part of the game.
I think the solar panel case is very interesting in Germany. Again, another clean energy supply. But as soon as those subsidies were pulled by the government, that sector flopped.
There was and is an argument for subsidies for that sector, but you have to be careful. A, the subsidy has to be limited. B, once there has been some time to kickstart a new technology, the subsidy has to be scaled back in a way that companies know about in advance so that they can plan. Too much of a subsidy or too sudden a stop to subsidy, political changes to subsidies do not create value. They actually are bad for business.
And what about energy subsidies in general? Critics say they gobble up money, enrich the middlemen, and bad for the planet.
I think energy subsidies in general are not good. We may need to invest some money into the public grid system in Germany. That would help quite a bit. But a lot of the ways in which we subsidize energy in this country is actually not good for taxpayers and consumers. It is just expensive. Rationalizing subsidies, cutting them, focusing on the things which are really important would make much more sense.
Mr. Schmieding, thank you very much for coming in today.